course of my career, I've met many people who are struggling in different areas of their life, whether it be in a relationship, issues with parenting, or a personal issue such as depression or low self-esteem. Many people don't have the financial resources or time to devote to going to therapy on a regular basis. In hopes to meet the needs of those people, I created this podcast, Top 5 with Chris Taylor, where you learn the top 5 things that you can do right now to change that difficult situation in your life. Today's episode of Top 5 with Chris Taylor, we're going to talk about the top 5 things that you can do in dealing with tantrums in your toddlers. We've all seen it, been there, experienced it. If you're a parent, it's embarrassing. If you're somebody that's in a store or at a park, it can just be sort of obnoxious, right? If you're on an airplane, that's probably everybody's worst fear, being next to a screaming toddler that you just sort of can't calm down for whatever reason. Okay, so we're going to talk about the top 5 things that you can do to deal with those tantrums. Okay, number 1, remain calm. I say remain calm because so many times we meet the energy that our toddlers or our kids are experiencing when they're having these tantrums, and we sort of start feeding into it. Now, they're going to do some, attention seeking, and they're going to get, sort of reinforced if they see that you're having a reaction. So indirectly, you might be encouraging the continuation of maybe the tantrum in that moment, but maybe they see it in the future as something that can sort of, give them, help them meet the ends to what they want to accomplish, okay? So number 2 is ignore the behavior. Ignoring the behavior when your kid is having a tantrum seems really counterintuitive. Like you want to step in, you want to control, your heart's beating fast, right? So we said calm down. But looking at them and just ignoring it the first time is going to be really difficult. Now, the reason I say ignore it is because if you do anything that gives them attention, even if it's negative attention, you're helping them to reinforce the behavior. And what we want to do is teach them that they don't get anything out of the behavior. They don't get an item that they're asking for, but they certainly don't get an emotional reaction out of you, right? So that can feel strange, as if you just walk away or step over, because when you're out in public, it might feel as though you're not a good parent, or that people are looking at you in a certain way. And I understand that if that's the first time you're going to do this, that might be difficult to do. So, practice it and get better at it. Because ultimately what will happen is they won't be doing these tantrums, so you won't have to worry about it as much when you're out in a really, public space where, you're sort of concerned that other people might be looking and, judging, okay? But number 3 is praise positive choices. I talk about this a lot in dealing with behaviors all the way from toddlers through adolescents and really young adults. And I think, honestly, this is just a way that we deal with people and can help elicit the positive behaviors that we want. Who doesn't like to be told that they're doing things well, right? But when you have a kid that's tantruming, so much of what we do is we focus on the negativity. So we start creating a narrative for that child that they're negative, that they're bad, that they tantrum. And we start putting these labels. Sooner or later, they just start believing that that's who they are. And then what's the incentive to change? So catch your kids doing well. A way that you can do this in a tantrum is when the tantrum ends, jump in and be like, thank you. Oh my God, that was so great. You stopped, right? And you don't have to use that language. Use a language that your child will understand, but really lavish it on, even if it's hard for you to do, because what you'll see is the kid will start craving the attention and the reinforcement of what they're doing right, and not the attention and the reinforcement of what they're doing wrong. Okay, so really look at opportunities to praise after the tantrum, but just overall, because the kid is really going to start seeing that that's the way they get their needs met, and it's going to feel good, and they're going to stop doing those negative behaviors. Okay. So number 4, create an incentive, right? And now we all know how to do that. If you do this, you will get that. What we don't want to do is create a situation where if you tantrum, then you get this, right? But instead, if you stop tantruming, then you will get. Or, we move to a place where it's just generalized to sort of all behaviors. Hey, we're going to go out today, and if you have a really good day, and don't name the tantrum, because again, you're sort of labeling and focusing on something specific. Just, hey, if we have a really good day today, at the end of the day, we're going to stop on the way home and get an ice cream. Or maybe even just have a toy in the car that that you know they love and create an access or an incentive to access that particular toy. Okay, now the fifth thing that you should do in dealing with tantrums is set expectations when you're calm. Right? It's really hard when your kid is tantruming and you're at this heightened level to then set those clear expectations, right? Because you're focused so much on stopping and controlling the behavior. And is that really the right time to talk to your child about what they should or shouldn't do? No, they're flooded with stress hormones, cortisol, it's flooding through their brain. They're just so amped up that nothing you say is really, sort of going in. And that's why you see kids have a hard time after they begin a tantrum state to really regulate themselves. So after all of that, maybe it's bath time or maybe it's, the next day, just tell them what the expectations are when they go out, build in that incentive, give them the positive praise, and really quickly you'll see that tantruming behavior go away before you know it. Okay, so those are the top 5 things that you can do as a parent in dealing with your tantrums in your toddlers. If you liked what you just saw and you would like more information about how you can implement these top 5 things into your life right now, please check out this and additional videos on my website, www.christaylormft.com.